Mark Bell from supertraining.tv. We got a special guest, Jesse Burdick, coming in to do some dynamic effort box squats with us. You're going to see some really good examples of how to box squat. Jesse's a good box squatter. You can see he's forcing the knees out real hard. He's actually physically sitting on the box for a little bit of a count there, a slight pause, and then coming back up. Treston Scholl is an amazing box squatter as well. And both guys, they have the same thing in common. They're really gifted at forcing their knees out. And you can see here when I'm going, I'm trying to force my knees out as hard as I can, but you can see that left one coming in just a pinch. So everyone's going to have a different skill level on that. But you still want to sit back. You still want to try to actually sit on the box for a little bit of a pause. If you're squatting down on the foam, it's probably the quickest way to learn how long you should sit, because you'd actually sink into the foam a little bit and then come back up. The box squat breaks up the eccentric concentric chain. Basically that just means it's supposed to make a squat a little bit harder. It helps develop more explosiveness by doing so, because you're going from a static position, overcoming it with a dynamic one. You can see Treston Scholl there trying to flex as hard as he can off the box. When we do these, we're not just lollygagging around here. We're not just getting down on the box and farting around. We're trying to get up off that box as fast as we possibly can. On this particular day, we're using the cambered bar. As you can see, it's got a pretty big bow to it, so it helps relieve a lot of pressure from the shoulders. And then we have chains on the bar as well. The chains help to accommodate resistance. They also help a lot with stability. You'll see the chains will be throwing us around, as well as the cambered bar will be throwing us around a little bit. Ryan Spencer is not a guy who's super flexible, but he still does a very good job of box squatting. And realizing where your strengths and weaknesses are is a huge key to that. Ryan doesn't go real wide. He just goes where he's a little bit more comfortable. He's tried going wider in the past. It kind of bangs up his hips. So he stays away from it a little bit more than some others. But the key is you always want to try to get your knees out to where your ankles are, your knees out to where your feet are, however you want to say it. Another way of viewing all this is to try to keep your hips close to your knees as you're getting towards the hole. That's a little bit of a weird statement, because that could mean that your back is rounded over. But I think you get the idea. You want to try to squat in the smallest space possible. You see Treston Scholl, he's always trying to feel up Ryan Spencer. He gets a little bit of a rub and a tug there. I don't blame him. Spencer, he's a cutie pie. What are you gonna do? Here's Jesse Burdick going again. Jesse and I go around and teach CrossFitians how to power lift. We were hand selected by Louis Simmons to do so, and something we take great pride in. We're able to go around different states and different areas and talk to CrossFit individuals about how to implement powerlifting, how to implement the conjugate system into their boxes, into their programming. So here we're starting to get into some heavy weights. You see that fat face is turning purple. Or maybe I just walked through the door that way for the day, who knows. Here's G-Buff going again. You can see we were using a lot of different weights on this day. If you saw in the beginning, if you're paying attention, the weights were much lighter. We were moving a little bit faster. I have encouraged Spencer and G-Buff to move the weights around a little faster, and then they could work up afterwards. They're just so obsessed with getting big weights on there because they're little guys. They have a little man's complex. But I allow them to go up after they've done some of their speed work. It's okay to mess around with different weights. If you feel like you're moving the weights too fast, simply add some weight. If you feel like you're moving the weights too slow, there's nothing wrong with taking some weight off and admitting that the weight's a little bit too heavy. Again, we do a lot of sets on this day. Could be anywhere from 8 sets all the way up to about 15 sets. You see Ryan struggle with that one there. Sometimes it's just a mental thing. Sometimes it's a matter of getting yourself tight. And by getting tight, I mean taking air in your stomach and keeping the upper back real tight. just basically keeping everything on lockdown. What I like to do when I unrack a weight is I like to just kind of think of it like, you know, my chest is here. If it's not going to move, I'm not going to let it lower or anything like that. So you see, Ryan came back and mentally toughed that one out, got himself tighter. You just want to get in position, in whatever position you're in on the unrack. Just don't allow yourself to get out of position, no matter what. It's almost a mental thing. Obviously, there's strength involved. You can see I'm squatting onto a higher box than the rest of the group. That has to do with me being a fat cheater, more so than anything else. But I actually chucked on the wrong pair of briefs on this day. These are my contest briefs, which are much more difficult to squat in. So I had to squat a little bit higher. I handled more weight on the day, so it all worked out. That's it for supertraining.tv.
You're like that old lady that made you eat her pussy all night. The worst day of your life, you said. That was one of the best, that's the best line ever.
What?
You're like, that old lady made me eat her pussy all night.
She made me.
It was the worst day of my life.
She's like, I was married for 10 years, he never did it.
Worst day of